The most delicious banging Edo banga. This is how Edo State and Delta State prepare their banga. My Igbo people, this is not ofaku. This is banga soup. They use it in eating swallow. So I started by washing and cooking my banga till it was tender. I added little salt while I was cooking it because my mommy said if you add little salt, it will bring back the original taste of the banga, no matter how long it has spent when in the banga market. Was tender, I pounded and started extracting the banga puri, which is the banga juice. So I extracted by washing it with water. It was hot. I didn't mean it was not still hot. I would have boiled hot water and added to it. So it would be easy to extract all the puri from the banga. After I extracted everything, I started boiling. I added my banga stick. This is banga stick. When making ofaku, you don't add banga and this stick. Is betete. I don't know if I pronounced it well, but that is what it is called. Betete leaf. So it's a kind of dry leaf. I don't know if they have the fresh one. So I like adding it on time so it will be able to soak in my banga. I love to allow my banga to boil for a very long period so that the oil will start floating on top. Then if you taste the banga, you will know it is already done. It is no longer tasting raw. So I added my cooked meat. I don't know, you can add your raw meat and cook together, but I added my already seasoned and cooked meat to it and a little meat stock because it was thick. This is banga spice. You buy it from the market or you blend it on your own. So this is banga spice I bought from a trusted vendor, which I always buy from. You can see I switched my hand at this point. That is bitter leaf, dry bitter My vendor leaf. Always warned me to use left hand so that the entire soup will not just get bitter, at least it will be a slight bitterness. Then I added seasoning cube and crayfish. Be very, very generous with that crayfish. At this point, I added my fresh pepper. Add as much as you can tolerate. Don't go and cook because you want us to be happy and you cannot eat it in your house. I have children eating from this pot. So I added pepper and I tasted for salt and seasoning. I adjusted with salt because there was salt in that meat stock. Remember, I boiled my meat with little seasoning and salt. So at that point, I decided to introduce my catfish into my pot. Immediately you introduce your catfish, you can introduce ice fish, whatever fish you have at this point, and allow everything to cook very well. So as I introduced my catfish, I still have dry fish waiting. The dry fish was not too tough. That was why I did not introduce it at this point. I allowed everything to cook evenly well. I stirred and covered the pot and allowed it to boil very, very well. You can. This is ngolo. I don't know if I pronounced that very well as well. They call it sea snail, ngolo. So I introduced ngolo. Though my family do not really like ngolo, they say it tastes somehow. So while eating the soup, I keep picking it for myself alone, and I will never use it again since they don't like it. So I introduced ngolo. I stirred everything together and cover the pot to boil. At this point, I decided to introduce my dry fish. I was using dry barracuda fish. So I introduced my dry barracuda fish into the pot. If it was very tough, I would have introduced it earlier on, but it wasn't. So I covered and allowed everything boil and understand themselves. I have videos of delicious banga soups on my page, but this was a special request from one of my TikTok followers. She actually pleaded that I should give a detailed video of banga soup, and I decided to make this longer video. So I introduced my periwinkle. Periwinkle should always come last. It doesn't take long to cook. Ordinary heat can cook with periwinkle. So periwinkle was the last to be introduced in my pot. I stirred everything together. You can see how I'm stirring this pot because I don't want those fish to scatter at all. I want them to come out as whole fish. What do we call this pot? This a pot of goodness or a pot of goodness and mercy because at this point I don't know what to say. And my banga soup was ready. I don't know if I'm the only one that scoops oil out of my banga. I can eat ofaku with oil, but banga soup with oil, I don't know. I just scoop out and I got a lot. You can see the oil. See it, how pure and natural the oil is. Beautiful people, here comes the almighty banga soup. Edo style, not ofaku. As you can see, though you can still eat rice with this, it tasted really, really good and so sweet. Please, I hope my TikTok follower will be happy to see this because I actually took my time to give a breakdown of this particular soup. I don't want it to be just a 70 minutes video or a 90 minutes video whereby you'll be rushing. Hope you have detail of what you are looking for now. Please, if you are watching this and it was your request, can you comment to at least cheer me up for next time?